We continue our lectures in text linguistics. The topic of lecture 2 is the problem of text definition and the structural types of text. The development of text linguistics has been strongly influenced by two methodologies of linguistic analysis, structural and functional. According to the structural, that is, descriptive methodology of linguistic analysis, language is regarded as a system of signs which is organized by the principle of hierarchy of levels of lingual units. The peculiarity of this hierarchy lies in the fact that units of any higher level are formed of units of the immediately lower one. Thus, morphemes are formed of phonemes, words are formed of morphemes, sentences of words, and so on. But this hierarchical relation does not imply that it might be reduced to the mechanical composition of the larger units from the smaller ones. Units of each level are characterized by their own specific functional peculiarities, so that units of each level are in some way distinct from all others. The lowest level of lingual units is a phonemic level, which is formed of phonemes. Phonemes are not signs here, as they have no meaning. They serve as material elements to build the higher level segments, morphemes and words. The function of phonemes is purely differential, as they differentiate morphemes and words as material bodies. For instance, sheep and sheep, cat and cap, bed and bed, etc. Units of the higher levels are already meaningful, therefore they represent signs. The level located above the phonemic is a morphemic or morphological level. The morpheme is the smallest meaningful unit of a language. Therefore, it is the smallest meaningful component of a word. It's built up by a sequence of phonemes, or even by one phoneme if it has a meaning. For instance, the words rosy, comes, and boys consist of two morphemes, one of which is the root morpheme, which is built up by a sequence of phonemes, whereas the other morpheme is an inflectional affix represented by a single meaningful phoneme, respectively marking the grammatical meaning of quality in the word rosy, the present tense, the third person and singular number in the word comes, and the plural number in the word boys. The third level in the lingual hierarchy is the lexemic level, represented by words as lexical items or lexemes. The word is built up by a sequence of morphemes or one morpheme, and it is the smallest designating or naming unit of a language. It designates things, for instance, dog, woman, table, book, river, etc. Qualities, for instance, quiet, beautiful, round, interesting, deep, etc. And actions, states, or processes, as, for instance, in the words bark, laugh, stand, read, crawl, and so on. The fourth level in the hierarchy of language system is the syntactic level, the main unit of which is a sentence. The sentence is an elementary full sign, as it not only designates a certain target situation or event, but performs communicative function as well, transmitting a comparatively completed piece of information. For instance, the sentence, "The American delegation arrived in Tbilisi for a 3-day visit," designates a particular target event on the one hand and transmits the corresponding information about this event on the other hand. But the sentence is not the highest unit of a language in the hierarchy of levels. The highest level of lingual units is the textual level, which is represented by a text. Traditionally, from the structural viewpoint, text can be defined as a sequence of thematically interrelated, well-formed sentences. For instance, in the text given below, all the sentences are thematically interrelated under the headline Kate Middleton and Prince William's relationship. Let's read the text. Kate Middleton and Prince William's relationship. Kate and Will's romance blossomed at university, where they regularly saw each other in lectures and tutorials and around the university halls. The couple connected through their love of sport and gap year experiences. By the time they entered their second year at university, Kate and Will had moved in together as flatmates, but insisted they were only friends. However, the pair soon became closer and started developing feelings for each other. Kate and Will tried to keep their relationship a secret from the press, but when they were spotted kissing on the slopes of the Alps whilst on a skiing holiday in Switzerland in January 2006, they could no longer hide. On this example, we can clearly see that text is actually a communicative unit of the highest rank. This text, for instance, contains considerable and interesting information about Kate Middleton and Prince William's relationship. The informative potential of any text is determined by the fact that, unlike a sentence, text can designate a whole set of events or situations which constitute the target, that's referential space of the given text. According to the structural definition, the lower border of the text is restricted, as it implies a sequence of at least 2 sentences. However, the structural approach to text definition leaves its upper or top border open because of the varying diapason of this theme. On this basis, linguists differentiate structural types of text into microtext and macrotext. In microtext, sentences center around one concrete theme, whereas in macrotext, microtexts are united by a hypertheme which is derived from the constituent microtheme. Let's consider the following example. Prince Harry vacationing in Mallorca without girlfriend. Days after another royal wedding, Prince Harry has been spotted relaxing in Mallorca. The royal 26, who stepped out solo for cousin Sarah Philip's nuptials in Scotland, is vacationing on the Mediterranean island, reportedly keeping close company with an unnamed bikini-clad female as well as some of his close friends. He also was seen dining out at the Villa Italia restaurant in Port Andrax on the southwest end of the island. The small group sat on the terrace, which is very quiet and beautiful. Chef Christian Katrina tells people, adding that a family friend who frequents the restaurant recommended it to Harry and his companions, and they had dinner and then left quite early. Meanwhile, his rumored girlfriend, Florence Bradenell Bruce, 25, has been home in London, where she was seen out and about riding her bike and photographed gardening outside her apartment. This newspaper article represents a macro text generated under the headline Prince Harry vacationing in Mallorca without girlfriend, which serves as the hypertheme of the text. It is formed of 4 microtexts, each of them having its own concrete theme around which the sentences are united. The theme of the first microtext can be formulated as Prince Harry spotted relaxing in Mallorca. The second can be formulated as Prince Harry and the company of a bikini-clad female and his friends. The third as Chef Christian Katrina giving an interview about Prince Harry, and the last, Prince Harry's girlfriend alone in London. There also exists a notion of the megatext. In literary texts, the notion of the megatext implies a cycle of thematically interrelated short stories, poems, and even novels by one author. For instance, John Galsworth's trilogy, The Forsyte Saga, represents a megatext because it consists of the novels The Man of Property, In Chancery, and To Let, each describing a certain period of the Forsyte family. As for the functional methodology of linguistic analysis, it also finds its manifestation in the text definition. We have surveyed the levels of language system and have seen that a sentence is an elementary lingual unit that can perform a communicative function, whereas a text is treated as the highest communicative unit. Therefore, we can say that, from the functionalist viewpoint, a verbal unit of any length, be it a sequence of thematically interrelated well-formed sentences, one simple sentence, phrase, or even a word, can be defined as a text if it performs a communicative function. This definition explains the existence of such texts as fire, help, slow down, and many others that are restricted by the context of the corresponding speech acts. Thus, we have discussed the notion of text from structuralist and functionalist viewpoints, pointing out that the methodological difference between them. We focused on the structural types of text as the basic patterns for linguosemiotic analysis. The second part of this lecture is devoted to the study of text as a semiotic lingual unit and its review via a stratificational model of language. One of the axiomatic statements of contemporary linguistics is that language is a system of signs. However, viewpoints on this problem differ. For instance, Unlike Saussure, who admitted the semiotic essence of language, Humboldt gave preference to its quite different characteristic, claiming that language is a creative process rather than a dead product. This controversy of opinions is reflected in the debates concerning the semiotic essence of text, that is, whether it should be treated as a lingual sign or not. Language, as a system of signs, is organized by the principle of hierarchy of levels. In the first part of the lecture, we have discussed 5 levels of the language structure with their corresponding lingual units and pointed out that this hierarchical relation should not be reduced to the mechanical composition of larger units from the smaller ones, as units of each level are characterized by their own specific functional features that help to define their linguistic status as sign or non-sign units. It has been underlined that the lowest phonemic level is built up by phonemes which are not signs yet, as they don't have any meaning. We have also focused on the sign and functional peculiarities of the higher lingual units, such as morphemes, words, and sentences. It's quite logical that there arises a question concerning the linguistic status of text, namely its sign essence. This question can be reviewed from 2 aspects. On the one hand, if the morphemic, lexemic, and syntactic levels of lingual units are treated as sign levels, the highest level and its main unit of the text should also be treated as a sign. It is a fact that, in the beginning, the majority of scholars thought that a sentence was built up by a sequence of sign entities, though it was not a sign in itself. At present, the sign nature of a sentence is unanimously acknowledged in linguistics. On the other hand, the problem of definition of semiotic essence of the text is connected with the question whether it should be treated as a language or a speech unit. Opinions on this problem differ too. There are 2 main approaches to this problem. From the first viewpoint, texts, like sentences, exist on both language and speech levels. Linguists indicate that on the language level, sentences exist as structural, abstract models, whereas in speech they are actualized as concrete utterances. Accordingly, there should also exist abstract textual models in language that should be actualized and filled with different lexical entities in speech. The other approach to this problem is that, different from sentence modeling, it is almost impossible to work out abstract text models because text is a product of dynamic linguomental processes that are not restricted by rigid laws of lingual patterns. Hence, scholars consider that a text should belong to speech level. At present, text is considered to be the highest communicative verbal unit, which belongs to both language and speech levels. The majority of linguists think that it is not a sign in itself, but is formed of sign elements such as sentences and words. However, in the contemporary communicative paradigm of the development of linguistic thought, text is considered as a semiotic entity because, while describing it, scholars employ the three-dimensional model of semiotic analysis, integrating syntactic, semantic, and pragmatic aspects of textuality. Having reviewed the semiotic essence of the text as a lingual unit, it is logical to compare it with the similar entities such as a complex sentence and a paragraph. It should be noted that when we speak about text, linguists usually imply microtext. Semantically, microtext might coincide with a complex sentence, whereas in most cases they differ grammatically. As for the relationship between a text and a paragraph, we should focus on the following 3 points. First, microtext might coincide with a paragraph both semantically and structurally. Such was the case, for instance, in the text about Prince Harry, where the microtext coincided with the paragraphs. The second, a paragraph may contain more than one microtext, and vice versa. A microtext may contain more than one paragraph. And finally, above all, a paragraph is a compositional unit of a text, while a microtext is a communicative unit, being a constituent element of a macrotext. Thus, we have discussed the notion of text from 2 methodological approaches, structuralist and functionalist, focusing on the structural types of text as the basic patterns for linguistic analysis. We have also reviewed different viewpoints concerning semiotic essence of the text and concentrated our attention on the trend according to which it is considered as a communicative lingual unit of the highest rank, generating in itself syntactic, semantic, and pragmatic aspects of textuality. Traditionally, we finish our lecture with the list of references that will help you expand your knowledge on the topic. Thank you.